everybody. This is Roman from Roman Empire Entertainment. We're back here with another Spider-Noir episode review. We're going to be doing episode 2 with my good buddy here, AJ Murga. And AJ, good morning and welcome back.
Hey, good to see you again. I'm excited to talk about Spider-Man Noir yet again. It's been fun so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I binge watched episodes 2, 3, and 4 last night. What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, I did exactly the same thing. And you're watching it in black and white, right?
Right. I was committing to the black and white. I thought I wanted to do the color, but then, man, I'm just staying on the black and white.
And I'm glad you are, because we're getting two different aspects because I'm doing the color. So I kind of anticipated you doing that. So I'm looking forward to talking about the differences.
I would love to hear your thoughts first, Andrew, on episode 2 of Spider-Noir. What did you think of it so far?
Yeah, so far so good. I think I like this episode maybe just as much or a little bit more than the pilot. First off, I just kind of take notes as they kind of come to me as I'm watching it in real time, and I'm liking the intro music and the intro sequence, the opening credit sequence, that is. I just like it more and more, I think, with each episode, and I'm kind of digging the fact that it's just getting catchier, because sometimes that's not always the case when you commit to a show and it's, you don't really like the opening music or whatever. But I'm digging this sequence and I'm digging the music, and so far, I think this one moved well. It was entertaining, it had some humor and some great action. I'm excited to talk about the car chase scene, but what did you think overall? My
summary for episode 2, I feel definitely hooked me in. I felt like this is a good start. It was better than episode 1, where, again, like I said in the previous one, I said that episode 1 was kind of like just introducing everybody to the world of Spider-Noir. But I felt like it definitely had the first real action scene that we saw of Spider-Noir, which was great. I thought that the voice works really well with Nicolas Cage when he's in the outfit. I guess they modify his voice a little bit.
That's what I was hearing too. He's kind of got a little bit of a Bane from Batman, but I thought it worked fine, because it's clearly not him as doing the physical movements. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. From what I was going over, there's more mystery about this with Kane Marco and what his ties are to Silvermane. The actress who plays the assistant, I'm liking her more. I feel like she's really developed a good rapport with Ben. I have a question for you as well. The scene up in the window with the assistant getting attacked by Silvermane's thugs. Did you think that was CGI? Did you think that was animated? That little scene up in the window.
I hadn't thought about it, but now that you ask that, I think it definitely gave the impression that it might have been. I could understand that because, none of those three actors seem like they're very physical. They don't look like stunt people to me. To go through the choreography of hitting a woman, that's not something as an actor that I would want to do. Maybe there's an element of that, but also too, it fits the era. I think it's from Ben's point of view. He's looking up, and we're getting a little bit of a dark and cloudy, his point of view version of it, maybe. So I hadn't really thought about it, but I think that's a good question. What do you think?
I think it did look animated. I was getting a little bit of the Flash vibes. I don't know if you saw the Flash.
I think so. You're talking about the one with Michael Keaton showed back up again?
Yeah, the one with Michael Keaton. It gave like Dancing Baby vibes from Ally McBeal a little bit. Just that kind of awkward animation. But I was okay with it because it gave a little bit of a stylized look. I almost feel like it would have been better if they had just done like a shade or black and white silhouettes in the window than, like animated black and white silhouettes, almost like like an old Looney Tunes cartoon or something, or Batman. No, Batman the Animated Series, that'd be more serious. Which would have gave it a little bit more of that style. And I kind of took me out a little bit, but again, the black and white, I feel like is forgiving of the CGI animation in this. I definitely believe it was animated, and it's not a total knock. I mean, it kind of looked cool a little bit, like the floaty kind of move and everything. So not a total knock. you know.
No, that's an interesting point. And from a filmmaking standpoint, that sort of thing, if it's animated, it's going to increase the budget and it's going to take longer to do. So that's an interesting choice. I wonder if that was an add-on and maybe they didn't have the footage of it, or maybe the footage, that didn't turn out well enough, and then they decided to do that later in post, right? We'll fix it in post. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question, but it didn't really take anything away from me in the time because, again, I'm not a huge fan of seeing that kind of violence. So I was kind of fine to not see it. But yeah, I didn't really think much about it.
What did you think about Lucas Haas? I don't know if you remember, but he was the little kid in Witness and Lady in White, playing this part of the thug, the second in command, basically, to Silvermane. What did you think about him?
Yes, thank you for reminding me who that was, because the whole time I was like, who is this guy? I know I've seen him before. Witness is a great movie, so yes, okay. I liked him actually quite a bit. I thought he was a pretty good second in command henchman type, and I know we'll talk more about him obviously in the next episode review. But spoiler alert. But yeah, no, I think he's doing well so far. But the whole time I was thinking, like, who is this guy? I know him from somewhere.
He gave off vibes of just the way that he did it, the way that he did his jaw, and the way that he kind of talked. I felt like he reminded me of David Proval's portrayal of Richie Aprile in the show The Sopranos. That kind of like, that look, and that swagger a little bit. It really reminded me of that.
Sure, I could see that. Yeah, I don't remember that one as much. I guess Witness really stood out to me. That was the kind of movies that I grew up on. I don't know if that was a good thing or not. I grew up with Schwarzenegger and Stallone and Witness randomly. So, yeah, I remember that movie very well.
Yeah, no, quite the transformation from bright-eyed and innocent to a ruthless mob thug.
For sure. And he did great, I thought. Yeah.
Lonnie Lincoln is the character's name. I love his voice. I love his imposing voice, the one that Ronnie Roberts has been hunting down. Kind of the cool thing about this show is how you're trying to figure out, like, what classic Spider-Man villain are they doing? Right. Are they doing a twist on? And I'm like thinking, is he the armadillo? Is he possibly like the armadillo in this? Like, what did you think about his character?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I didn't think about it that much because I don't know the lore, especially of Spider-Noir as much. But no, the armadillo, that definitely makes sense, because I was thinking, is it Killer Croc? That's not the case, because Killer Croc was a scientist or whatever. But yeah, so that's a good point. I didn't really think about it, but I try not to overly I try not to jump ahead, because it's hard for me sometimes to turn my writer brain off when I'm watching stuff, and if I find myself over anticipating where things are going to go, usually I end up spoiling part of the fun. But I don't know where this character is going to go so far, but I am interested and intrigued by him. I think he's doing a good job of playing the part, and Armadillo sounds probably right.
I felt like a little bit they did a whole season preview in the first episode, like right at the end of the first episode. I felt, in my opinion, like that wasn't the best thing, because it was like they really should not be because it already gave me ideas of like, oh, okay, Kane Marco and Lonnie Lincoln, they're working for Silvermane. I'd rather would find that out throughout the series rather than, see like, okay, here's a full preview of the entire season 1,
Yep, and I agree. I actually skipped through that, so I didn't even watch it, because I kind of hate it when they do that, I used to watch The Bachelor, and I just hate it when they would always be like, tonight on The Bachelor, and then they'd spoil the whole episode. They do it every single episode, so I've never really liked that sort of thing. Like, once you hook someone, you don't need to keep re-hooking them. Just like trust in your property and hook them at the beginning, and don't just keep doing it. That's my opinion anyway.
Right. I have a question on this on episode 2, and I don't feel like the other episodes, the following episodes, explained it, but was it that Ben Reilly, did he have like a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2 moment where his wife gets killed, Ruby, and then he loses his way, like he loses his powers, he like psychologically loses his powers, because then in episode 2 we see him for the first time, he's swinging back into action.
Right. Yeah, that's the vibe I got too. Like, I think it's always there, like this we don't have to remind ourselves to breathe, right? We just do it. And so I'm guessing that's the case with his powers as well. But I do think they laid dormant because he probably was so depressed that he suppressed them. That was my intent. That was my takeaway anyway. But that's a good point. I don't know for sure, and I don't know that we're supposed to. I don't know if they're going to answer that question or not. But this actually leads me into a point that I wanted to bring up, if you don't mind. I thought it was really interesting when he had this moment where he was his spider senses were turning on when he was having this flashback of the World War I. He was looking at the photo and he had this flashback, and then the spider senses kicked in, and that's when he knew to hide from the henchmen coming into the room. And I just thought that was an interesting connection that they made, like PTSD from a war and also your spider senses tingling. Those two things I would think in real life would be very interconnected, and it would probably be hard for a Spider-Man with PTSD in order to navigate which is which. I just thought that was super interesting. What did you think about that at all?
Yeah, I think with the idea that, relating to that with his memory coming back and with the feeling that he has, where he was in that moment. I think that's a good point. I think now the war, you mentioned World War One. Is it World War Two? I can't quite pick what year this is.
I thought we were in the 30s, but I could be wrong. I don't know that I checked it, but I thought we were in the 30s. I can check real quick.
It takes place, we know it takes place around the 30s, 40s. But the thing is, and it takes place in its own universe, which they can do whatever they want establishing. But there's certain things, I think, even though it's in an alternate universe, it's supposed to be mirroring, somehow our own timeline. And the thing that gets me is if it's in the 40s, they wouldn't be driving around Model Ts, because they'd be driving around the bigger sedans that they started introducing, the larger sedans. So the Model T would definitely be something from the 20s and the 30s look.
Yes, you're right. And I can't remember if it's in this episode or one of the next two episodes, but there's the mayor mentions something about ending prohibition.
Yeah.
And so there's I believe that was 1929, that era when prohibition. Yeah, definitely the 20s. So had to probably be before 1929. So again, World War One is what I was thinking. And if you do the math on Nick Cage's age, that fits more. He probably would have been in his 30s. If this is the 1930s and he's late 50s, he would have been in his 30s for World War One, or late 20s even. So yeah, I feel like the math works on that, right?
Yeah, and again, I think I just throw to the fact that it's an alternate universe, so they can kind of mix things up a little bit. But I do, I hate to say this. Again, love Nicolas Cage, and I know how, as a filmmaker, I'm very much pro. I've always been pro practical effects, even throughout all the CGI era. I've been very much relying on practical stuff for myself, and then the movies I'm a fan of. But I felt like they did a little bit of a disservice. They could have done a little bit of de-aging with Nicolas Cage, bring him back to a look, because they can do it now easily. They can de-age somebody, and the fact that he's just the same look in the flashbacks and the same look in the old war, it just doesn't work. Takes me out of it.
I agree. Those kind of logistics usually rub me the wrong way, and I actually have a note on that, I believe, in the next episode that we'll talk about. But for some reason with Nicolas Cage and the tone of this show, I'm just digging it enough to where I kind of found it almost funny. It didn't really take me out. I mean, it did, but everything he does kind of takes me out, because he's just got this odd delivery, but I like it. And I mean, I think at the end of the day, when this show wraps up, the main takeaway that I'm going to have is it's worth watching because of him. That's my opinion so far anyway. We're only through 2 episodes, but he's really, making it for me so far.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, Nicolas Cage is the draw for this entire series. I remember when I saw the trailer, I just saw Nicolas Caging it up, in the trailer. If they didn't have Nicolas Cage, if they had some other actor, I don't think the show would be as interesting.
No, not at all. Yeah, I don't even know if I'd be watching it, honestly.
I feel episode 2, it was better than the first episode. more action in it, a little more intrigue. It definitely gave me a brighter view of looking forward to the rest of the series. What about you?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think the only note that I would add is loved the car chase sequence. You know, that was, to me, that was the standout action sequence so far. And I think it might be hard to beat. It was a really good sequence, even though it wasn't too long or too, extra. It was just done really well. And I really liked it a lot. So episode 2 so far, better than the first. I totally agree.
They break out a little bit of that television trope with the effects. There are aspects of the effects and the stunt work and everything that they do well that are cinematic. So I do have to give them accolades for that.
For sure. For sure.
All right. Well, we'll be reviewing episode 3 on the next episode. And what did you guys out there think about episode 2? Please comment on that. Please give us some feedback. And once again, we have AJ Murga, and I'm Roman from Roman Empire Entertainment. Please check out AJ on his Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And we will see you for the next episode. Like, share, and subscribe.
That's right.